Okay, I'm going to start off with a piece of wood because I want my teleprompter to be solid. This is a 12 by 16 piece of wood. You can use a smaller one if you wish, but I'm going to be putting my iPad Pro 13-inch on it, and I want to have some room. And I'm going to cover it so my iPad doesn't get scratched with a piece of fleece. So let's do that first. I'm going to wrap this, and then I'm going to use a stapler to staple it in place. I think I'm going to tackle those corners first because they're at, as you can see, it's not a square. So I have angles cut. No particular reason. This is the way I purchased it. We want to make this nice and tight so the front will have no wrinkles. Let's see. Okay, it's one corner. And you can use any type of covering that you want. I'm using the brushed fleece. I've seen people on other reviews, they use like a vinyl imitation leather that they like to use. Everyone has their own choice of favorite materials. All right, that's 2 corners down. Okay, that one I'll need to pound down a little bit to sticken up. Last corner, get that nice and tight. Okay, now I'm going to fold over the long straight parts, nice and tight. And then what I'm going to do on the back, since this will be laying on my glass table, I'm going to put those soft circular pads on so the staples don't scratch the glass surface. I was going to buy a teleprompter, but the difficulty I had was I want to use my 13-inch iPad Pro as the monitor, which some of the teleprompters have. There's a pull-out extension. You lay your larger iPad down, but I also want to use my iPhone 17 Pro Max as the camera, and I couldn't get the right teleprompter that would hold both my large iPad and using my iPhone 17 as a camera. It was either or. Either I could fit the iPad in, but for the camera, they actually use a camera other than an iPhone. So I watched a lot of videos of other guys that made something similar to this. So I thought I'd try my hand at it and share it with you. And look how nice that looks. That is nice and tight and smooth. So when I put my iPad on, I don't have to fear about it being scratched. All right, I'm going to take you to part 2. So let me gather some items, and we'll continue with the do-it-yourself teleprompter project. Okay, next I'm going to attach some hinges to this frame. And I'll attach it on one of the longer sides, like that, so it can close. Then I'll measure the 45-degree angle on how to keep it at that angle, and I'll figure that out as I go. So I am going to put the hinges on without taping that, because that's going to be a lot of measuring and marking and drilling. So I'll come back with the finished hinges on both the board and the frame. With those hinges. All right, let's give it the old college try. Keep dropping my hinges. Let's just do one at a time here. And I'm sorry if my hands are in the way, but this is going to be a little tough. Even if I have the camera on the opposite side, the drill will be in the way. All right, I think that's going to be good. Now, I'm using the drill I have, which is a work drill. I wanted to get a mini pen light drill, but I went everywhere. I went to Hobby Lobby, Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's. No one had them. Of course, I probably could have got one on Amazon, but I wanted to get this project going. All right, let's get that first screw in there. That might be a trick in itself because that fleece got wrapped up. Let's see. Okay. First one's in. You know, when you're working in these small quarters, guys, you know, with our bigger hands in the small quarters, it just takes patience. Reverse it out. Okay. It's always hard to get it started at first. Oh, that screw is so small. I wish I had a magnet on the end of these, end of the screwdriver. Actually, that fleece is acting like a good, when the screw goes in, another anchor. Okay. Another one. And this drill just so big. Jeez. You gotta make sure you're right in the center. What I'll do when I go to edit this video, if this attaching the hinge gets too long, maybe I'll just show attaching one of the hinges. Because the other part is attaching the hinges to the frame, the picture frame. Yeah, we got it. All right. Let's get the other hinge. Below 0 and very windy. I guess most of the U.S. is going to be getting a snowstorm. We just hope it misses us. I've been lucky so far this year. We had some snow, but nothing drastic. All right, I'm going to stop it here, and I'm going to get the hinges attached to the frame and get this going a little bit. Okay, I'm back. I got the hinges put on. Now for the hinges, the drill bit was 1/16, and this it was a little tedious because they're so small. But now with it on, look how nice this is. Go up. And then when you're done with it, just close her on up. Now, the next job is to put the glass inside of here. And what I did was this was the backing that held the glass in. I didn't have any black paint, so what I did is I took some black cloth that I had. I made a square cutout so my iPhone camera, iPhone 15 Pro Max, will have plenty of room to video from there. Tape the edges. I taped inside. There's the cloth. And then this is the original, the black. Now, if you had black paint, you could just, because this is tan color, you could just spray paint that. I didn't. So I just used what I had. All right, now we're going to put the glass inside of this. And let me get the camera set at a better angle. All right. Let me get the glass. What's nice about this, I kept the frame where the glass just set inside, and I'm going to place this inside on top of the glass. It might be a tight fit because I put cloth on this, and I have tape around it too. So let me get the glass. Set the glass in. tricky part, trying to get this to fit in. But I have all that tape. Try to squeeze it in. Hope I didn't break the glass. Oh. Okay, I'll probably have to tape around those edges on the back, but this is the finished product. Now, I need to figure out with my trusty angle where the 45-degree is. That can't be it. Let's see, if that's 90. Half of 90 is about up here. That's hard to believe that's a 45. Well, let me figure out the 45-degree angle. Because this angle it's even digital, but that's not correct. Let's see here. Well, let me pause here for a second and get this exactly set for 45-degree angle. Okay, guys, let's wrap this up. So this is the back. I put tape around here so it fits a little better. As I mentioned previously, the tape and the extra fabric that I used on the other side for it to be black couldn't fit back in the slots. So I had to tape that in. Again, I made a square for my iPhone 17 Pro Max. So it does fold completely. Now what I had to do is figure out the 45-degree angle. And again, I'm just using what I have. So I just had these sticks and I cut them to fit up in a corner, which will give me my 45-degree angle. And just to show you that I have the 45-degree angle, I use this instrument. You can do different angles with it. And that is 45. Now I plan to do something more permanent besides these sticks, but again, I'm just using what I had. I'll use some type of, I know there's some type of hinge I saw at Home Depot that I can attach to here and here, that will fold. That would work real nice. But for temporary means, this will do it. Let's see, the only other thing I'm going to do, I am going to put these pads on the bottom, because remember, I stapled the bottom of this, and I'll be using it on my glass table here. And I have a video posted of putting this glass table together. It's the Manomi glass table electric adjustment. I have that posted if you want to see that. So I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to attach these pads, and I'll show you what that looks like. And then I'll run down and what the costs were, and we'll close it out for this video. Okay, guys, the pads are in place. So when I place this down on my new glass top table, it won't scratch it from these staples I have in. Hinges. I am all set to go with a do-it-yourself teleprompter. All right, now for the breakdown of the prices. The hinges were $1. The sticks I used were $1. It came in a package at a arts and craft store, Hobby Lobby. The glass frame was the most expensive item. It was $18, but it's an oversize. It's a 12 by 14. So I'm sure you can get by. If you want to make it smaller, you could have a smaller frame and maybe pick one up at the dollar store or Dollar Tree. The fleece was $5. The pads were $1. The wood was $10. So this entire project was $36. So my wife and I just got in from digging out from the snowstorm we had here in southwestern Pennsylvania. We shoveled 8 inches out of our 50-foot driveway and, let's see, 160-foot sidewalk in our patio, which is 12 by 16. And we did my neighbors, and we did my sister-in-law's, my wife's sister, who's 5 doors down. So right now we're tired. So it's a good time to wrap this video up. My next video is going to be about the snowstorm and about us shoveling out and using 2 different electric shovels. One is a Greenworks, and the other one is a Voltask. And then for our actual snow blower, it is a Cobalt 80-volt battery-operated snow blower. So they all came in handy today. We dug out 8 inches and we came back in, and right now it's about 4 more inches. So we'll go out tonight. So far we have 12 inches of snow. Anyway, no matter where you're at, be safe. And I'll catch you on the next video from Boomer Collections. My name is Dan. Adios. I'm Dan from Boomer Collections. Thanks for watching.